What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are looking at PNG USD, Pangolin / United States dollar. This is a daily chart, and this will be the price data from Coinbase. So it's been a while since we looked at PNG, Pangolin, and we're going to check this out here. So we have Bitcoin up 631. We have PNG up almost 4% here. Let's see, it's the 1st of October. What's going on here? We've had a lot of choppy action here in the markets. We have a pretty vicious sell-off here. Big candle body, or big candle wick, basically support right at the 18,701 level, and then kind of a rising choppy market here with some resistance between our levels of 26 all the way up to the 28. We have a level in between there at 27,445. If I take a zoom out here, I want you to notice that this most recent pullback here, especially this day right here, the 5th of August, came down and retested basically the highs of this old range over here. So this range over here was from, our dates are, our months are about November all the way to where it broke out in February. So a pretty long range here, and the market came back and tested the upper end of that range. So what was a resistance level became a support level. If we take a look here at the charts, if we put up a trend line, let's get a trend line here, and we'll roughly take it from there. Let's see here. So it's rough, not perfect here, but essentially this floor of support here, this trend line that's acting as support. My concern with this is that it is not bullish. It actually is quite bearish. So this has a tendency to want to break to the downside based on the angle this is going here. So if it broke to the downside, obviously that's bearish, so you wouldn't want to be holding long, and we would be looking at, again, the 18,701 level as an area for the market to head back down to. So that would be quite unfortunate for the bulls. And we saw something similar. It's not exact, but it's similar here, especially once the market printed a lower high. So this is on a much smaller scale, but right in here, you have a similar, obviously smaller scale. And then you can see when it broke down to the upside. And actually, if you carry this through, the market has a tendency. So right here, it broke through that support line. The market rallied, and now it turns the underneath of that range into resistance. And then it actually really got nasty. So what would that look like in recent times? Well, let's draw this out for you here. And I want you to understand that I don't trade the markets based on these trend lines here, but sometimes they're right in your face, and that's why I talk to them. It's when they're right there, I don't want to ignore them. So I just want to bring it up to you guys. I'm trying to find the correct tool here. Here it is. So basically, if it was a similar move to what we saw back in the July time frame, it would look something like this. So essentially, maybe you get that breakdown. Maybe it doesn't go all the way to 18,701. We get a test. We turn the bottom into resistance, and then you start to really get that move to the downside. So I'm not saying that will happen, but that is what we've seen. And this from the July time frame is a good example of a similar looking trend line with that slope to the upside that actually has a bearish break lower, gets retested perfectly, and then gets the real big drop. So I mean, it's it's just very obvious right here. Sometimes what's obvious in the market doesn't work. I understand that as well. But I just want to make you guys aware of this basically rising, um, this rising channel here. You could probably put a line up top as well. And, yeah, just something to be aware of if you hold PNG. Now, so we talked about the 18701 to the downside. It's been tested once before. Here it is right here. Now, maybe, like I said, what's obvious in the market, sometimes, if everybody sees it, the opposite takes place. Well, if the opposite took place, we would actually break out to the upside. So what level is our highest level right now of overhead resistance, where the market has been finding resistance, is the 28,600 level. Found resistance there on the 18th of August, got close to it here on the 26th. It came into play here on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th of September. It's this purple line here, guys. And just recently it tried to break out. We actually had to close above it on the 27th. Let's see, yep, we closed above it again on the 28th, and we're back below it again on the 29th. So our highest level of resistance right now is 28,600. That's an important level for this market to get above if we're going to go on a breakout to the upside. Let's not ignore the 26.2 or the 27.445. That's this red line and this purple, this yellow line. That is that. If we take off to the upside and we can get past 1, 2, 3 of those levels, which would also take us past this cluster here from the 27th, 8th of September, we can start to talk about 34,137, 34,137 for PNG, for Pangolin. These days right here, the 2nd and the 3rd of September, got close, but big reversal back below. We closed below that level of resistance, quite bearish, and the market continued to pull back, trade sideways. So that's what, again, I don't hold this, but if I did, I would be watching it like a hawk, all of that. The break to the downside, these 3 levels, these 2 candles here, the 27th and 8th, these candles here on the 2nd and 3rd of September. And then if we can get past all of that, then you're talking about 34,137, 34,300 was support over in this time frame, which would have been June, July area of this past summer. But it doesn't look too bullish right now, unfortunately. Like I said, if the markets start to show any weakness, this pattern is going to play out to the downside. If the market goes on a ridiculous rally higher, then, my thoughts are we're going to see a nice breakout to the upside. This obvious is not going to be so obvious, and we're actually going to go in the opposite direction here. So, hey, that's what I hope happens. I don't like to see these prices get crushed, because I know there's a lot of people holding these projects, but it's not up to me to push the market buttons, pull the strings in the market. But Bitcoin got hit pretty hard recently, and if it doesn't recover and continues to bleed out and be weak, there's a really good chance we're going to see PNG break below this trend line and start to make its move lower, and maybe find itself down here at the 18,701 price level. So 18,701 to the downside, between 26 and 28.6 is current levels of resistance. And then if we can break out above those, you can talk about watching 34.13, 34,300. And those will look like, so if we break to the downside, let's call it all the way down to 18,701. It's about a 28% move from current price. And if we break up to back to our 28.6, call it a 7% move. And if we rally all the way up to 34-ish, we're at about a 29% move. So that should keep it covered for a while. And that's that, guys. That is that. That's what I see here for PNG. Again, I don't hold it, but I'm just, got some requests here on the channel, so I figured I'll take a quick look at it. We used to cover it a while back, and that's that. Guys, if you are not yet subscribed, join us here on the channel. Keep your eye on this. keep your eye on this support line here. It's important. You can see how they play out. You get this rising channel. More than likely they break to the downside. So if that's the case, it could get pretty ugly and you could find yourselves down at 18 pretty quick, especially if Bitcoin starts to crack and be weak. Guys, if you are not yet joined here on the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. All links down below, of course, not financial advice. We'll catch you in the next one. We have Bitcoin. Let's see, BTC USD is up 729. So we're getting some green movement here, which is nice. And my screen is frozen. So we'll wrap this up. Here we go. We have Bitcoin gave back its recent gains. We're finding ourselves back at the 63.7, the 64.375. We got to get above the zone again. And then, we got to make our way up to the 68.748 resistance back in here in July. And if that takes place, we'll see PNG break out to the upside, and that's what I'm hoping for. All right, guys, I'll catch you down in the comments.